Hello everyone and welcome to the first day of Alliance Tournament 14. I am here with Suetonia, Reload and Nash here to bring you the first day of Alliance Tournament fun this year. Let's start with Nash Cadaver, the man who's put this all together. How are you feeling about today, buddy?
Very, very stressed, I think is probably the way to put this. We're still setting up a couple of things, but we're looking good for the moment. We're trying to get a few niceties ready for you guys so you can see some more in the studio as well. Super hyped for the matches. I'm not sure whether I'm excited or stressed. It's a combination.
Bit of both. Yeah. So massive thank you to ATXIV and CCP for helping us set up this show for the first weekend. Also the guys running the ISD streams. They're bringing you the matches as well. First up, we will be looking at the match between Exodus and Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork, also known as Kick. Suetonia, tell us a bit about these teams. What are you expecting from this match?
Okay, so Exodus are a very strong team. They're probably one of the top picks to win the entire tournament. They've had a strong showing throughout their debut, which was in Alliance Tournament 11. They came third place in that tournament. Alliance Tournament 12, they also did pretty well. They were knocked out by the Tuskers, I think, at the close quarterfinals. And then Alliance Tournament 13, they were fourth place, but then after the ruling, they got moved up to second.
Yeah, cool. So, Reload, what are you looking forward to in this first match?
I am looking for an upset, that's for sure. I really hope Kit can really put something out, maybe like cheese Exodus, but Exodus are going to probably put out something pretty strong in the first matchup to show they are being serious straight from the first match.
So you think it's fair to say that what we see from Exodus may define the meta for the first weekend, or at least one of the common archetypes?
Definitely, definitely.
Fantastic. So we have these amazing guys in the room. We are also joined by people from around the globe. For the commentators for the first few matches today are going to be Rain Chocolate and Elise Randolph. Elise, you'll remember from the last two Alliance tournaments we had together in Iceland, and Rain is kind of a newcomer in the tournament commentating scene, but she's absolutely fantastic. They're going to show you a really good show today. Speaking more about the tournament generally before we go into the matches, the flagship picks this year have been really interesting. Last year, tons and tons of Balgorns. Balgorns everywhere. This year, Balgorns with a 2-point reduction. We've got the Blood Rages tournament going on. Excuse me. We've seen a few less Balgorns, actually. Why do you, Suetonia, think that the Balgorn is such a popular ship to be a flagship?
Well, it's always been a strong ship because it's just so strong with control. It's also one of the ships that scale a lot with the flagship modules because you can fit officer webs to it, which scale with the Balgon's bonus to web range, as well as officer newts and dead space newts, which also scale with the Balgon's dead space newt amount. And also it's 2 points cheaper this year, so you're enticed, it's a good job to bring it. And speaking of other ships, I think Scorpion Navy issue is also another ship that we're seeing quite a lot, which is pretty strong. It doesn't really scale like the Balgon does, but it's just one of those solid ships.
It's a solid battleship in general, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Reload, tell us, what does bringing a flagship mean? You've probably said this before. What is a flagship in the Alliance tournament?
So a flagship is basically one team can nominate a flagship. You're allowed to pimp this thing to the next level, basically. The only things you can't pimp are invols, enams, so tank modules. You can fit dead space reppers and shield boosters, and you can't pimp the micro warp drive. Anything else is pretty much fair game. Usually these flagships are really pimped. We're talking upwards of 15 to 20 billion-isk in flagship alone, other than obviously other tournament costs. And so once you lose a flagship, you cannot bring the flagship again. Although the flagship does have a special rule where even if they ban the certain ship, so for example, Balgons are going to be quite a popular ban, they can still bring the flagship Balgon. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what the meta will be like in the terms of flagships anyway.
Yeah, speaking of unique ships that people can bring this year, we've had a rule change in terms of the previous Alliance tournament winning ships. Suetonia, if you could tell us a little about the 80 ships, what they are, and also the new rules we have this year.
So the new rule this year is that you can only bring one unique ship, and that's one throughout the entire setup. You can't bring one Cambi and one Etana. It's just one Etana. And they're unique ships that have been gifted to people who won tournaments before. And they're very powerful. For example, the Etana is a Basilisk that has an extra mid, an extra low, and slightly better shield reps.
Reload, what do you think are the most common 80 ships we're likely to see this year?
Definitely from this is a thing from my part, but I definitely think any team that has a flagship SNI, they are definitely going to bring in a Etana. It's definitely, they synthesize so well. You've got the flagship SNI. It's going to have loads of damage. It's going to have loads of tank. You're bringing a Tanner with that. It's going to be a very solid core team. I also think Malices, maybe we'll see, because Malices are quite popular in terms of Alliance tournament. Not so much for Tranquility because of its slot layout, but definitely a strong another AT ship, sorry. And I would probably say might see Mirachas and Chromoses again, but that would be more of a wild card. And probably the Fiend as well. Fiend, definitely a very strong ship.
Now, we have 64 fantastic teams this year. Really excited to see all the matches. Nash, who are the teams that you're really watching this year? Who are you excited to watch play?
I obviously have to say PL. They'll always do well, so certainly one we'll keep an eye on. We're not showing the PL match that's coming up first. We're showing the other arena. The teams I'm really looking forward to is Kick, because I know that they've been training really hard. I know that they're playing Exodus, but my money's going to be on the Kick team.
Yeah.
I think Lady Arian has done an amazing job with the team. She's been training really hard. And she's really dedicated the last 12 months to the Alliance tournament and preparation. So I know that they'll do really well. Exodus, still an exciting team to keep an eye on, but my personal favourites to go all the way this year will be the Tuskers.
Tuskers, a very strong team.
Yeah, I mean, Exodus always bring out really fantastic ads. They have a love affair with CCP Rise, I think it is. They have fantastic ads. Hopefully we'll get to see a few of them this year. Yeah. I mean, the ads are another amazing part of the community part of the EVE tournament. It's just really fun to watch all the creativity of the players. And speaking of the community, I do a bit of shameless self-plug here. The final day of the Alliance tournament on October 16th, I'm hosting a viewing event in a pub in Birmingham, England called the Bristol Pear. You can see information about that on Reddit. Come down, have a pint, watch the finals with some nerd friends, and we're going to have a really good day of it. Sutonia, when it comes to tournament stuff, you used to be on the old Hydra Reloaded team. We have obviously a lot of old teams like PL. We also have a lot of young teams. So many teams this year are fresh faces, some even formed even just a few months ago. What advice do you think that a brand new team to the tournament who may be facing an Exodus in the first round, who may be facing a PL in the first round, what would you say to those teams in terms of how to prepare, what you hope they would have been doing for the past few weeks?
I think it's just bring a setup that they're really comfortable bringing. I think a mistake that a lot of new teams make is they try to bring this like ultimate setup that they've never practiced, or maybe it's been fed to them by another team, like Pandemic Legion, for example. It's like what's happened in previous tournaments.
Yeah.
I'd say just fly what you're comfortable with. Generally, I'd say the best chance you have of winning is just out executing them and just flying what you're used to.
Fantastic. So the teams are now in the arena. It's very close to start time for the first match. I could not be excited. Reload, what is your prediction for who is going to win Exodus versus Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork?
I really want to believe, I really hope that Myth will pull something out of the bag and they will beat Exodus with a cheese setup. So I am definitely going with Kick on this one.
Fantastic. Nash, who are your predictions?
I'm going to go with Kick on this one for sure.
Sutonia?
I hope Kick wins, because it's going to be one of the best upsets, and a lot of people will lose money on EVE there. But I think Exodus are going to take it.
Yeah, I know we've got Bay in the studio from the Kick team. He's super nervous, really stressed, not only because he's doing like 10 different jobs today, but also it's his team flying first. We'll be going to that match really soon. I'm really excited to also see what the bans are this year. Kind of the ban meta is always really, really important. What setups do you guys think that we might see from these teams?
I definitely think they'll probably bring maybe a TFI core, or maybe like a Balgorn plus Battleship plus Command Ship type of setup. So something relatively standard. But I definitely think Kick might bring a cheese setup, maybe something like an all-in, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we are about to find out. It is moments away till we start, so we'll switch over to the commentators, Elise Randolph and Chocolate Rain.